On the first day, Lily posted an intimate photo of her and Simon under the sunset. I burned all of Simon's photos. On the second day, Lily posted a picture of her and Simon kissing in a lavender garden. I pulled out the entire field of tulips that Simon had once planted for me with his own hands. On the third day, Lily posted a video of Simon spending tens of millions to buy a star and confess his love to her. I made a phone call to my father. Dad, I want to come home. I agree to the arranged marriage. Chapter 1. Elise. Marriage is not child's play. Have you really thought this through? Dad, the person you choose for me can't be wrong. 7 years ago, ignoring my family's strong opposition, I decisively gave up the chance to pursue further studies abroad, all for the sake of staying with Simon and chasing our dreams together in this unfamiliar city. Through countless days and nights, what kept me going was the beautiful future he once painted for us. Only today did I finally realize how naive and foolish I had been. It wasn't until midnight that Simon finally came back, returning from the business trip he claimed to be on, when in fact he had gone on a romantic getaway with Lily. Baby, I specially brought you a gift. Come see if you like it. He handed me a silk scarf, wearing his usual gentle smile. This scarf was the kind of gift he often gave me. But the last time Lily visited our studio, she had accidentally let something slip. She said it was a free gift from a luxury brand. So you give all the freebies to Elise. Huh? Simon, you really know how to live frugally. I still remember the deliberately innocent tone she used that day. I looked up at Simon and spoke calmly. After finishing your vacation with Lily, you still remembered to bring me a gift. How thoughtful. A trace of panic flashed across his face, almost imperceptible, before irritation quickly replaced it. I just accompanied her there to talk about a project. Stop overthinking things. When did you become so jealous? I had already grown numb to such perfunctory explanations. I didn't want to keep this relationship alive with self-deception anymore. Simon, let's break up. The moment the words left my mouth, his eyes instantly turned cold. Elise, know your limits. I don't want to hear that again. The door slammed shut as he walked straight into the study. In the past, I might have chased after him immediately, lowering myself to beg him to make up with me. Unfortunately, I no longer had the interest to continue acting in this pointless drama. I turned around and walked into the guest room. Ever since Lily appeared 3 years ago, and I accidentally saw their ambiguous messages, we had been sleeping in separate rooms. From that moment on, there was no longer any place for me in his eyes, and I gradually grew used to this icy indifference. The next morning, Simon unexpectedly cooked. Try this bowl of noodles. I specially learned how to make it for you. There was anticipation in his eyes as I politely took a bite. Not bad. Hearing this, he immediately broke into a delighted smile and quickly packed the rest of the noodles into a thermos container. Even someone as picky as you says it tastes good. Lily will definitely like it. He hurried out the door, leaving me alone. I looked at the empty dining room, yet inside, I felt an unusual calm. Chapter 2. An hour later, I walked to the company's human resources department and directly submitted my resignation. The HR supervisor had no idea that I was the secret girlfriend of Simon, the design director, so she quickly processed the necessary paperwork for me. In 7 years of our relationship, no one in the company had ever known about us. He always said that office romances created a bad influence, and it was better to keep things low-key. Yet he himself was inseparable from Lily. Throughout the entire company, rumors spread that they were a match made in heaven. Not only did he never explain anything, he actually behaved even more intimately with her in public. Around noon, as I passed by his office, I heard bursts of laughter coming from inside. Through the half-closed door, I saw Simon organizing Lily's painting tools. The look in his eyes was so gentle it seemed almost liquid. Look at you, paint all over your face, you little kitten. Simon reached out and gently brushed her cheek. The distance between them was so close it felt ambiguous. Lily noticed my gaze and curled her lips into a smug smile. The next second, she leaned closer to Simon and placed a soft kiss near his lips. Simon froze for a moment, then indulgently ruffled her long hair. On that handsome face was a tenderness I had never seen in the past 7 years. I withdrew my gaze and returned my attention to the work in my hands. There were still many design drafts waiting for me to revise. In the evening, the receptionist brought me an exquisite gift box. Designer, Miss Lily asked me to deliver handmade chocolates to everyone. After placing the box down, she excitedly began sharing the gossip. I heard these chocolates are really expensive. Miss Lily specially brought them back from Belgium. Last week was Simon's birthday, and she even flew there overnight to buy them for him. Lily is so romantic. No wonder Simon spoils her so much. Suddenly I remembered that Simon's birthday was on the 18th. That day, I had been in the hospital accompanying my seriously ill grandmother. I stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights without closing my eyes. I called him and told him about it, but all I received was his cold response. "I'm busy creating right now. Don't disturb me." So it turned out that he had been in Belgium with Lily. The receptionist continued chatting endlessly. "Elise, I don't think these are ordinary chocolates. Maybe they're their engagement sweets. They're really a perfect couple." I forced a smile. Yes, talented and beautiful, a perfect match. As night fell, I saw Simon walking out of the company with his arm around Lily. When I returned home, I packed my luggage simply, preparing to leave early the next morning. After washing up, I habitually scrolled through my phone. Lily had posted another update, painting with the person I love the most. Today was another happy day. The photo showed her and Simon painting together in the office. I used to love painting too, but whenever I picked up a brush, Simon would look at me with obvious disdain. "All you do all day is paint useless things. Can't you do something serious?" Later, he even threw away all of my painting tools. And yet now, he could patiently spend an entire day painting with Lily. A bitter ache rose in my chest. I turned off my phone and forced myself to fall asleep. Chapter 3. In the early hours of the morning, I was awakened by a series of urgent knocks on the door. The door was suddenly pushed open. Simon stood at the entrance with a gloomy expression. "Lily is staying here tonight. You can sleep in the study." He spoke in a commanding tone, as if this room had long ceased to belong to me. "Why?" My sudden resistance made him frown. "Lily was frightened today and needs someone with her. Can't you be a little understanding? Doesn't she have a home to go back to? Or can't she afford a hotel? Why must she stay here?" My words immediately darkened his expression. "What do you mean by that? Lily and I are completely innocent. Stop thinking in such twisted ways. When did you become so unreasonable?" The Elise I knew wasn't like this. I opened my mouth, but when I saw the undisguised disgust in his eyes, I suddenly lost all the courage to argue. The Simon who once treated me with warmth and tenderness had long since disappeared. Now, in his eyes and in his heart, there was only Lily. What was I still holding on to? And what was I still expecting? "Do whatever you want." I turned around and began packing my things. At some point, Lily had appeared at the doorway as well. "Elise, please don't be angry. It's all my fault." Her deliberately aggrieved voice made Simon's heart ache. "All right, Lily, stop talking. Let's go." Before the door closed, I heard Lily speaking in a coquettish tone. "Simon, Elise must just be too tired. Please don't blame her. Tonight, I'll keep you company." The night was quiet, yet from the room next door came intermittent laughter and conversation. My phone suddenly vibrated. It was a video sent by Lily. In the video, Simon was gently blow-drying her long hair and carefully combing through each strand. I stared at the screen, yet my heart felt strangely calm. After a long while, Simon quietly pushed open the door of the study. He walked softly to the sofa and gently wrapped his arms around me from behind. "Lily has already fallen asleep." His voice was soft as his fingers lightly traced my wrist. "Elise, I know I haven't treated you well lately. From now on, let's be good to each other again. How about we finally set a date for the wedding?" How many times had I brought up marriage before? Each time, he had always found countless excuses to avoid it. "Let's wait a little longer," I replied with the very phrase he used most often, and I clearly felt his body stiffen for a moment. After a brief silence, his hands began wandering again. I let him continue, but countless scenes flashed through my mind. How he had hurt me again and again for Lily. How he had trampled on my sincere feelings over and over. Why should I endure all this? And why should 7 years of my love be worth less than Lily's mere 3 years of entanglement? The anger I had suppressed for so long finally erupted at that moment. I suddenly turned around and kissed him fiercely, almost biting his lips, while my fingers forcefully pulled open his shirt. But at that moment, I smelled the perfume on him that belonged only to Lily, and I saw the fresh lipstick mark on his collarbone that had not yet faded. A wave of nausea surged up my throat. I pushed him away violently and rushed out of the room. At the doorway, I heard Lily's triumphant laughter drifting out slowly from the room. I had lost. And I had lost completely. Chapter 4. I lay on the sofa in the study until dawn. When I woke up, the house was already empty. I glanced at the calendar. Today was the day I would leave. Before leaving, I wanted to make a clean break with him. I had reserved a table at the Tranquil Tea House. It was the place where we first met. For many years, he had spent every one of my birthdays there with me. At dusk, Simon returned. Just as I was about to speak, he suddenly slapped me across the face. "Elise, how can you be so vicious?" Before I could react, Lily ran out of the bedroom. She was clutching a wrist marked with bruises. "Sister Elise, I promise you, I'll leave right away. I'll never appear in front of Simon again." Seeing this scene before me, I instantly understood their intention. Simon pulled Lily into his arms with concern, then turned his head and looked at me with eyes full of hatred. "I always thought you were just too possessive of me, but I never expected you could do something like this." I watched their clumsy performance with cold eyes. "I didn't do anything." These 4 simple words immediately enraged Simon. "There were only you and Lily at home today. If you didn't hit her, then who did?" "Elise, do you think I don't know what kind of person you are?" I clenched my fists tightly, forcing myself to stay calm. After 7 years, after countless days and nights together, he should have known me better than anyone. Yet now, just based on Lily's one-sided accusation, he had already pronounced my guilt. Lily suddenly let out another cry of pain, immediately drawing even more sympathy from Simon. "You're still pretending to be innocent here? Hurry up and apologize to Lily." "I won't apologize for something I didn't do. Even now you're still stubborn. How can your heart be so cruel?" Every accusation from him felt like a sharp blade carving into my heart. I remained silent, watching as he carefully supported Lily and helped her leave. The room fell silent again. At that moment, my phone suddenly rang. It was the tea house calling to confirm my reservation. I had already missed the agreed time by 40 minutes. I canceled the reservation, since there was no longer a place for me in his heart. Why should I continue making such meaningless efforts? I picked up the suitcase I had already packed and went straight to the airport. While waiting to board, I sent out all the evidence I had collected during this time. Their ambiguous text messages, intimate photos, hotel records, to the company group chat and to Simon's family group chat. At the very last moment before boarding, he called. For some reason, I answered. "What do you mean by sending those things? Where are you right now? Come back immediately." I spoke calmly. "Simon, we're over. You no longer have the right to control me." From the other end of the phone came his hysterical roar. "What nonsense are you talking about? When did I ever agree to break up?" Chapter 5. I turned off my phone and boarded the plane. After returning home, I followed my father's arrangement and went to meet the man chosen for my arranged marriage. In just 1 month, from our first meeting to registering our marriage, everything proceeded step by step. On the first weekend after the wedding, I was in the study organizing my design sketches when the doorbell suddenly rang. The continuous ringing made me frown, and I quickly walked toward the entrance. Standing outside the door was Simon. He looked haggard, and there was a strong smell of alcohol on him. Our eyes met, and his eyes instantly turned red. "Why did you do this? Do you know I searched the entire city and couldn't find you?" His voice carried anger and unwillingness. I only replied with 3 words, "I didn't know." That brief response seemed to ignite his anger instantly. He grabbed my wrist. "Were you deliberately hiding from me? Were you trying to force me to give up Lily this way? Fine, I promise you, as long as you come back with me now, I'll immediately cut off all contact with her." I pulled my hand free and stepped back. "You're overthinking it. Besides, I'm already married." "What?" He froze on the spot, his voice trembling slightly. I took out my brand new marriage certificate from my bag and held it out in front of him. "Bigamy is illegal, Simon." He stared fixedly at the small red booklet as if he were seeing something impossible. "No, this must be fake." His voice began to shake. Just then, Alex walked out of the study. He was wearing comfortable home clothes and holding the design draft I had just finished. Elise, I think this color scheme is really good. Should we discuss it again together? The moment Simon saw Alex, his face instantly turned pale. He suddenly rushed into the house and walked straight toward Alex. Who are you? And what right do you have to be here? I immediately stepped in front of Alex. Simon, calm down first. But he became even more agitated. Elise, you left me because of him, didn't you? Tell me the truth. Was he the one manipulating everything behind the scenes? I looked at his hysterical expression, feeling no emotion at all. This is my home. Please leave immediately. Impossible. This must be fake. He wanted to say more, but Alex interrupted him. Sir, I believe you understand that behaving like this in someone else's home is very impolite. Alex's voice was gentle, yet carried an unquestionable authority. Simon froze. He looked at both of us, his eyes filled with disbelief. Elise, you will regret this. He turned and left, slamming the door heavily behind him. Alex walked to my side and gently held my hand. Are you okay? I shook my head, only to realize that my hands were trembling slightly. I'll make you a cup of tea. After saying that, he turned and walked toward the kitchen, watching his back. A faint smile slowly appeared on my lips. However, this was not the end. A week later, at the opening reception of the design studio Alex had prepared for me, Simon appeared again. Happy birthday. I remember this is your favorite brand of paint. He handed over an exquisite gift box, wearing the same gentle smile I used to know so well. Before I could say anything, Alex walked over, holding my arm. Thank you for the blessing. But Elise is now using limited edition imported paints. I've already prepared them for her. Hearing this, Simon's expression instantly became awkward. At that moment, Lily also appeared at the venue. She seemed completely unaware of Simon's actions. Brother Simon, this is... Before she finished speaking, she saw the gift box in my hand. Interestingly, Simon apparently had not told her about what happened between us. I nodded politely. Please come in. Watching the two of them walk away, I suddenly felt that everything in the past was like a dream that had lasted far too long. Chapter 6. After the reception ended, I opened the gift box Simon had sent. Inside was a complete set of limited edition imported paints. The packaging was exquisite, and it was obvious at a glance that it was very expensive. Looking at the set of paints, I couldn't help recalling an afternoon 3 years ago. That day, I was preparing for a very important design exhibition. My best friend had specially given me a collector's edition set of paints she treasured. It was one of only 50 sets worldwide. Each tube had its own unique serial number. But when Simon found out about it, he threw the entire set of paints into the trash. A designer should focus on computer drafting. Painting is just a childish trick. What future can it possibly bring? His words cut into my heart like knives, but I held back my tears. Later, I found out that he had given that set of paints to Lily, because Lily said she wanted to participate in an international art competition. The uniqueness of that paint set was practically equivalent to an entry ticket to winning an award. After Lily won a prize in the competition, she ended up losing the paint set. That night, she even came to me crying. Elise, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to. Looking at her tearful face, my heart softened. It's okay, it's just a set of paints. That night she even swore that she would buy me another set in the future. However, after that, she bought countless even more expensive paint sets for herself, yet never mentioned this matter again. Thinking about it now, I was truly ridiculous back then. Looking at the paints now, my heart felt nothing at all. Besides, Alex had already prepared an even more professional painting studio for my workshop. I closed the gift box and turned toward where Simon and Lily were standing. Seeing me approach, Lily immediately wiped the smile from her face. She asked with feigned concern, Elise, why are you here? I placed the gift box on the table. Thank you, but I can't accept this gift. Hearing this, confusion immediately appeared on Lily's face. I pointed toward the painting studio not far away. Alex has already prepared a more complete studio for me. When Lily saw the studio, built entirely with transparent glass walls, her expression immediately turned unpleasant. Alex also walked over at the right moment. This is my wedding gift for Elise. Hearing this sentence, Simon's reaction was even stronger than Lily's. Wedding gift? Elise, you really got married? I nodded. Yes. Seeing my answer, Simon seemed to let out a sigh of relief, but the next second I added, we registered the marriage a month ago. Let me introduce you. This is Alex, my husband. Simon stared at me in disbelief. Weren't you waiting for me to come back to you? How could it be? How could it happen so quickly? I interrupted him. Simon, did you forget? We broke up a long time ago. Simon fell silent. Meanwhile, after hearing this answer, a trace of satisfaction flashed in Lily's eyes. She reached out, trying to hold Simon's arm, but he instinctively avoided it. Simon, what's wrong with you? Simon remained silent for a long time before finally saying, I'm not feeling well. I'll leave first. After saying that, he turned and left without waiting for Lily's reaction. Lily hurriedly chased after him. I took Alex's arm. We should go greet the other guests. Chapter 7. After the opening reception ended, Simon stopped me again in the parking lot. Under the night sky, his eyes carried a vulnerability I had never seen before. Elise, are you really this heartless? 7 years together, can you really forget it just like that? I know I made mistakes, but you don't have to punish me this way. For the past month, I've been looking for you every single day. Do you know that? He tried to step closer to me, but I moved back to avoid him. Even now, he was still living in his own world. He always assumed that everything I did was for him. His self-centered attitude made me feel extremely tired. Simon, I've already made it very clear. It's over between us. This isn't revenge, and it's not some kind of joke. I now have my own career and family. So please, don't come and disturb us again. Besides, doesn't Lily love you very much? You two are the most suitable. But when he heard Lily's name, Simon shook his head agitatedly. That's not it. I don't care about Lily at all. In my heart, there has only ever been you. From beginning to end, only you. How ironic. There was a time when those words could easily move me. But now, everything was far too late. Just as I was about to leave, Alex and my parents walked over together. Seeing Simon and me alone, my father's expression immediately darkened. Elise, why are you still entangled with this man? I quickly explained. Dad, you misunderstood. I was just about to find Alex to discuss a new project for the studio. As I spoke, I took out a design proposal from my bag and handed it to Alex. He took the document and looked at me gently. Is this the proposal you mentioned for the international design competition? Seeing how affectionate we looked together, my parents' expressions softened, but Simon suddenly became emotional. He grabbed my wrist, his voice trembling. What exactly do I have to do for you to come back? I no longer wanted to explain anything. No matter how many times I said it, he would only believe what he wanted to believe. He had always been like this, living forever in his own world. I took Alex's arm and gently leaned my head against his shoulder in front of Simon. Please don't come looking for me again. With that, we turned and left. That night, headlines across the entire design world exploded. Hashtag famous designer Simon announces engagement with rising artist Lily hashtag. I clicked on the news. It was their public announcement at an art exhibition. I sent Simon a brief message. Wishing you both happiness. The message showed as read, but there was never any reply. I put down my phone. Alex wrapped his arms around me gently from behind. I've read your design proposal. It's really excellent. I turned to look at his warm eyes, and a gentle warmth rose in my heart. This was the life I truly wanted. Chapter 8. The next evening, I had just finished a meeting at the studio when I saw that the art plaza downstairs was filled with flowers. It looked like some kind of large event was being held. I had intended to leave directly, but several designers from the studio insisted on dragging me along to take a look. There were quite a few reporters from the media gathered at the scene, so I casually asked one of them, "Hello, may I ask what event is being held here? I heard a famous designer is planning to propose." Just as I was about to leave, a sudden commotion erupted within the crowd. Simon, dressed in a well-tailored black suit, walked toward me holding a large bouquet of roses. The moment I saw it was him, I immediately turned to leave. "Elise, please wait." In an instant, every camera from the media and every gaze in the crowd focused on me. Obviously, all of this had been carefully planned by him. A public proposal. He simply wanted to force me with this method. We were together for 7 years. You took 99 steps toward me. And now this final step should be mine. Elise, I swear I will love you for the rest of my life. Please give me one more chance, okay? Listening to these words, I only felt an overwhelming sense of absurdity. Simon, I've already made it very clear. I'm married. Please stop while you still can. I'm very happy now. And the only person I love is Alex. Haven't you already gotten engaged to Lily? So please stop playing these ridiculous tricks. There will never be anything between us again. But he anxiously explained. No, that's not it. My engagement with her was only a temporary measure. I wanted to make you jealous. I wanted you to come back to me. Everything I did was all for you. I interrupted him coldly. Then your performance can end now. As I turned to leave, I saw Lily standing not far away, her face pale with anger. Apparently, she had heard our entire conversation. She stared at Simon fiercely. So this is your true heart? Simon panicked and didn't know what to do. He tried to grab Lily, but she fiercely avoided him. Lily, listen to my explanation. Enough. Lily interrupted him sharply. So all this time, I was just a tool for you to provoke Elise. Simon, we're finished. After saying that, she turned and left, leaving chaos behind. Simon tried to chase after her, but the security guards at the scene stopped him. This farce quickly spread across the internet. Hashtag famous designer publicly proposes to a married woman. Hashtag Simon and Lily's engagement collapses. Hashtag art world love triangle takes dramatic turn. Hashtag. The comment section exploded with shock. I turned off my phone and pushed open the studio door. Then I froze on the spot. Chapter 9. The studio was completely empty, and Alex was nowhere to be seen. A sense of unease instantly surged in my heart. My fingers trembled slightly as I immediately dialed Alex's number. But from the other end came a cold automated message. Sorry, the number you have dialed is currently unavailable. My heart sank instantly. I immediately called my in-laws to ask about Alex's whereabouts. Mom, has Alex contacted you today? My mother-in-law's voice carried a trace of worry. Alex? He said this afternoon that he was going to your studio to give you a surprise. What's wrong? A surprise? But today, I hadn't seen him at the studio at all. I immediately checked the surveillance recordings of the studio. The footage showed that Alex arrived at the studio at 4:20 p.m. While I only left the gallery at 5 o'clock. During that time in between, where had he gone? I carefully reviewed the footage from every camera. I discovered that after Alex received a phone call, he hurriedly left the studio. Just as I was feeling extremely anxious, my phone suddenly rang. It was Alex calling. Elise, come to the art center. Alex, are you okay? His voice sounded calm. I'm fine. You'll understand when you get here. After hanging up, I immediately rushed to the art center. But when I pushed open the door of the exhibition hall, the person who greeted me was Simon. My heart jumped into my throat. Where is Alex? Simon showed a meaningful smile. It seems you really care about him. Don't worry. He's perfectly safe right now. Suppressing my anger, I said, take me to him immediately. It turned out that everything had been arranged by Simon. His obsession had reached an almost pathological level. You love him that much? Simon stepped closer and closer, his eyes filled with a sickly persistence. I stepped back and looked at him coldly. Where exactly is Alex? Simon stared at me intently. Elise, if he didn't exist, would you come back to me? Tell me, if I take you away from here right now, could we start over? He reached out, trying to touch me, but I avoided him. You're insane. Just as the words fell, Alex walked out from the back of the exhibition hall. Seeing that he was safe, I felt an immense sense of relief. Alex walked to my side and naturally took my hand. Sorry for making you worry. Simon looked at us, and the light in his eyes completely faded. Elise, is this your choice? Leaning into Alex's arms, I answered firmly. Simon, let's end it here. What was between us ended long ago. Before leaving, The way Simon looked at me made my heart tremble slightly. All right, today. It truly ends. You too, take care. After saying those words, he turned around and disappeared into the vast night. On the way home, I kept asking Alex if he had been hurt. He smiled and shook his head. What could possibly happen to me? But you, when my phone couldn't get through, you must have been worried sick. I complained. Why did your phone suddenly turn off? Alex smiled mysteriously. Because I was preparing a surprise. What kind of surprise is so mysterious? He gently squeezed my hand. You'll find out in a moment. As he spoke, he covered my eyes and led me into the studio. When I opened my eyes, I saw a gigantic painting in front of me. On it was a loving couple. I looked at him in surprise. You painted this? Alex nodded. My eyes instantly filled with tears. After all, Alex had never really had much artistic talent. But from the painting before me, it was clear that he had put in countless hours of effort. He gently patted my head. I just wanted to tell you that for you. I'm willing to learn anything and do anything. I will love you for the rest of my life, and I will support all your dreams without any reason. I couldn't hear what he said afterward. I only knew one thing. Choosing to marry him was the most correct decision I had ever made in my life.